You guys scrimmed against Flyquest this week. I already see a grin from you. How was it?
We went 0-10 the past 2 days combined. We haven't won a game. But I mean, Flyquest is just a really, really good team.
Usually if you go 0-10, that breaks mentals. I don't know if you've ever been a part of a team where you just like have that bad of a scrim week.
Oh, yeah.
But
all the time.
How did you guys come out of that looking stronger? Feel like it contributed to the win?
I mean, our coaches just really reiterated that, like, they're just a really, really good team, Flyquest. And as long as we keep focusing on what we need to do, then we will beat any other team that's not Flyquest in this moment.
Welcome, everyone. We are week 2 in pros for playoffs. I got the winning Shopify Rebellion players, Seos, Contractz. We got Huhi here. You were here with us the entire day.
Yeah.
First of all, you guys both said that this was your first time kind of on the show, or at least on pros. And you guys are riding a high. Run me through the feeling coming out of it. You guys just 3-0'd 100 Thieves. Are they frauds?
Honestly, I'm sure my opinion is a little bit different from Seos, but today I felt like I played pretty bad.
Whoa!
Pretty bad. I don't even think I played League of Legends today. I feel like I wasn't using my brain at all.
What do you mean?
I was just going with the flow, and my teammates were just picking up the boats.
Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, my teammates played really well today. But yeah, it felt like they were just kind of confused and dizzy. Like they were never actually pressuring, and it felt like we could kind of just play a really nice, chill, slow game, and then they didn't really know what to do on the map.
I kind of want to hear a different answer now, Seos.
Like, I think first game, I think they played the way I expected because they normally like to fight, you know, and even if they give objectives, they like to go to kill you after you get the objective. But second and third game, I feel like they are just, I don't know, I didn't like the draft, but they are just like watching us, you know. And
Yeah.
like before I came here, I always think like from when I watch, I always think 100 Thieves really likes to fight, you know, likes to pressure the enemy team. And on the second and third game, I feel like they just don't do nothing. Especially the third game when you pick like Smolder against Varus, you just can't do nothing, to be honest, you know.
Yeah, I want to bring this back a little bit because I remember during group stage, you guys took them down in 3 games. And the whole conversation, at least from 100 Thieves, was that, like, we deserve to be in the upper bracket. We had, like, a really good regular season. They were including positioning phase. And those games were, like, close. They even were constantly saying, like, if we didn't pick Aurelia, we would have won. And a lot of people, like, I didn't vote you guys. I had, like, 3-1 100 Thieves. No one really believed this to be the case. Like, how do you guys feel going into 100 Thieves in general? Like, just from when you guys beat them in the group stage till now. Did you guys think you were better?
Yeah, to be honest, yes. I think last week we practiced against them, and when we practice against them, I always feel like they are not really a smart team. I think mid-late game, I think they have 5 really good players individually, but I think when the team game, when mid-game comes, that you need to like play tempo well, play the vision game, you know, play the objectives. I feel like they get kind of lost. So I always feels comfortable against them if we don't like get stomped early game. So I always feel if you have good lane phase, mid and late game, we will be better than them.
What are your thoughts? Because you also voted.
Yeah. I mean, I also voted on the 100 Thieves side in the beginning, and I became a hater, you know. But after game 1, like, you guys kind of came back from, like, a pretty big deficit, right?
Yeah.
And I just felt like you guys just tilted them out of their face. And game 2 and game 3, you guys start getting more comfortable, get more confident. Like, game 3 was a complete stomp. Like, I was just waiting, okay, so when are you guys going to kill them and end the game, right? And I just feel like, yeah, they just kind of lost confidence, and they weren't, like, playing the game, like.
Yeah, they're definitely like a very momentum-based team, and once they throw a big lead where they feel like they're in position to win game 1, it's hard for them. Especially with their game 2 draft, I thought didn't really fit their style too much. Like they're just blinding Renekton's head with Azir, which kind of contradicts each other, and they're leaving like open an angle for me to pick Trundle.
Yeah.
So I feel like in that game they don't really have much of an advantage anywhere to kind of like play how they want to, at least topside for me.
Yeah, let's talk about the games just a little bit then. Let's go and start with game 1. because that one, yes, we already talked about it. That was like a 51 kill game, 48 minutes, and it felt like that game really started to open up for you guys when you picked out Jin mid. Like it was like a huge. You guys were able to kill FBI. So walk me through that moment if you remember it.
If I'm not mistaken, Talia was dead, right? And
Yeah.
it was like 20 seconds for Elder. So we kind of have like one wave of 5v4. So I was just saying like, I will look to fight now because Talia is still dead, even if he don't have time to TP. So
Yeah.
he giving an angle mid wave, and yeah, I just.
What were your guys' thoughts on the scaling for that game? Because yes, you guys were behind, but you had a scaling Senna. The only fear I had was I thought Sniper was playing well that game and he was on Gwen. So I was like, this is getting really iffy. Did you guys had the confidence that you can still bring it back at that point?
Yeah, Bvoy was very clear with like his win condition in the game. He's like, I'm 4 items, guys. I'm scaling once of the game. As long as we play the fight well, then I will carry. So that game definitely gave us a lot of confidence in like going into the late game team fights of like just play with Senna, just play front to back, and we'll have a good shot to winning the fights. That game for me was like a rough one.
Yeah.
I felt like versus like Leona and Nefiri, it's kind of hard to play fights, but I definitely overreached a lot of moments in that game, and we were in position to win. But I feel like once we lose like the first 2 or 3 fights, I'm kind of just a sad young winner that one.
It was tough because all of those fights, River was like living on 1 HP, it felt.
Yeah.
And he was on Nefiri, which just is like perhaps the most annoying champ because anytime you were trying to find a pick, you're hitting his dogs. or like anytime you tried to find an engage, you just press W.
Yeah.
Like it was difficult, it looked like. And then moving into that second game, you were like criticizing the draft or like you were worried about the draft. The one thing I had as a concern I'll just talk about the Trundle actually, the Trundle pick. Because you had Trundle Annie, and of course like Palafox had a pretty, like it was difficult for him mid. Talk me through the combination of picks. Because I thought I was a bit of a hater only because I was like, I don't know how Annie could stay alive in the early game.
I mean, Annie is kind of just a plug-and-place champion that just follows up well on what we need to do in the game. Like she has, flash ult, and that's pretty much her job in the game is just to use everything and then kind of just die in peace.
Yeah.
And then like let Lucian, Trundle, York do most of the work. Oh wait, was he York? Yeah, he was York. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I feel like Trundle Milio versus Sedge Renekton, they just can't really play the game, and they don't have the range advantage to like do anything other than lose in peace.
Actually, Jay, something you pointed out at the beginning of the show was kind of like Shopify Rebellion and 100 Thieves Otacons. Mm-hmm. So when you guys pulled Otacon this game, I was worried.
Me too.
Talk me through that, because I thought that was your best execution around Otacon.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we played the vision well for the most part. I think we definitely gave them a bit too much space and let them walk into us. But I don't know, it's something that like we've struggled with throughout the whole split in terms of like playing multiple rounds of control and poke before hitting the Otacon. Something that we're slowly improving on, but we're talking about the one where he's Maokai, right? Or
that was the one where
I think the Rakan went in really deep. Azir was like couldn't really follow up, and you guys just kind of started wiping them out afterwards. I think that's the one that you're talking about, right?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah,
that
they
I'm
come
talking
through
about.
lane, and
Yeah.
it wasn't
yeah.
we didn't have a good engage, right? That game we kind of need like Annie to. Annie was on lane, so she was trying to get her flank, and she was kind of unlucky because he missed the Renekton TP, right? Renekton TP in front of her, so she mistimed the ulti.
Yeah.
And then when Annie lose the ulti, we kind of like need to wait them and need to wait them to do some mistakes.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the cleanest, because ideal we can turn, but our comp is really good when they go on us. So
Yeah.
I just really liked how like you guys were really on top of the win condition, because you guys were really clear. Like when we were listening to the comms, you guys were really clear about you guys have to kill this Azir. Azir was pretty fed that game, and it was the only like long range like consistent damage. Yeah. And I feel like even though Palafox was a little behind in lane, I felt like he was kind of still trying to find the Azir over and over. And I felt like 100 Thieves just didn't really know their win condition. They were trying to overreach when they had the fade Azir, and like you guys were always finding the Azir. So I just felt like you guys were just way more prepared, way more locked in a sense. So.
Yeah, their tanks just kept taking up way too much space, and when we're able to get like just free hits on them, it's not too good. I mean, they have no way of really disengaging when Sedge like uses Q. So yeah, I think they're just overreaching a lot.
Yeah, because I remember in that game there was that one team fight around Dragon where like Renekton gets caught on basically he gets marked by Yorick. And Annie just gets this long flank. What was Palafox saying in that moment? Because he was just like unmarked at all, like the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, Fudge's comments were that he's just fisting Renekton on the side, so we can just take it slow. It's better for him. And then as a 3-man, we're just letting them take space, come up to us. And then once they take too much space forward, then Annie will flank and walk around. And once they've overcommitted their bodies past a certain point, then that's our trigger to go.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what our communication was like.
That time I was a bit scared of Palafox, to be honest, because he was going around, right? And Rakan was on bush. Yeah. So I thought Rakan would just ult and kill him, but he didn't do it. So
just didn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
that
that frame was like exactly what I was talking about, because like Ayla was for some reason so focused on engaging on you guys instead of like trying to find where Annie is, or like Annie literally walked in the bush and like Rakan ulted, but like he doesn't even tag the Annie, right? Like so I feel like their focus was just completely wrong, and I feel like you and Bvoy actually like had a great game, because like as Lucian, Emilio, you guys were like making so much space, and you know like supports never get the shout out, but he wouldn't have done it without your Emilio. So
That's true.
This is just plugging that in there. Okay.
Yeah. Palafox's comments were, well, that Rakan just let me walk through.
I mean, it was crazy to see.
Yeah, when he said he was going around there, I tried to say Rakan is there. He would probably just die, but
So walk straight through.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel like they were just playing worse throughout the series, like unforced errors kind of thing? Because my feeling looking at maybe both of your teams, but for sure 100 Thieves, is that they're kind of emotional, like more emotional players.
Yep.
So for a game to lose like that in game one, it just felt like they were kind of making more and more unforced errors. Did you guys feel that at all?
I feel like after game one, they just stopped trying a lot of things. I feel on game one, they really try to engage. They find really good fights, really good skirmishes early game. But then after they lose, I just feel like they kind of stopped looking for these angles. And to be honest, it wasn't that easy because their draft didn't allow them to do a lot of things early game. But still, I feel like they kind of just let us play the game.
Specifically game 3? Because game 3 draft was the one that looked the hardest for them to play.
Yeah. Game 3 was really hard. Game 2, I feel like when you play Xayah Rakan, maybe if you try to fight more against Lucian, you can try to win, but it's kind of a hard matchup too. So I think they didn't try to fight, so they just kind of accept us, like getting pressure and getting recall first. So I feel like they didn't have a good angles there.
What do you guys think, because I asked this at the beginning, happened to 100 Thieves? Because 100 Thieves was in the finals for first split. And then for them to be now in bottom 4, knocked out in playoffs, like that is a pretty big difference. And I heard their scrims, of course, but their scrims have never been really good from what I've heard every time like people have been talking about that. What do you think happened?
I feel like they just kind of lost confidence and direction, to be honest. I feel like once things started spiraling downwards, they felt like they never recovered in terms of like how they want to play and how they want to play the map. For me, I mean, just seems like they just seem really dizzy on the map. Like they're not actually playing for like their win conditions, and they're not like playing strong. It feels like once one thing goes wrong, they kind of just can't really pick themselves back up.
Surely, Jay, you have some insight because you're friends with FBI and River, and I'm sure have played Scrim versus them a little bit. Any kind of thoughts that you've had about 100 Thieves going into this split, or coming out of it?
I mean, going into split, I feel like they did deserve more credit than what they should have given. Like I feel like they've been always like placing a little high, but like people are like always telling them like, oh, it's like a fraud, like they're kind of being lucky. And I feel like yes, they can be lucky, but like the fact is that they were on the top place teams. Yeah. But I think it should be also on the other end where like now Sniper is talking about how it's not really fair about the format, that they're supposed to be on the top. But, you know, truthfully, they just lost you guys back-to-back, like, over and over, right? And then today you guys 3-0'd them. So I think no matter what the format is, in the end, to win the split, you do have to beat every single team. So there's no excuse in that regard. But format and those things, I feel like it's just at this point getting to an excuse. So you just gotta own up to your mistakes and accept that you're worse than Shopify, and they just have to try to improve for the next split.
Yeah. Do you feel like they're tilters?
They're definitely tilters, I will say. Like I think River is kind of a both, where like like we see a lot in cameras where he gets stolen objective in front of his face and then he's still laughing.
Yeah.
That can be a pretty good thing, but definitely like FBI. Maybe I don't think he really tilts, especially on stage games.
Yeah.
But I think it's just about like a momentum thing. When you start losing like game one,
Yeah.
like you kind of lose confidence. I feel like what CEOs was saying, like they just stop kind of playing the game. Like even though like they just have to try, even though sometimes it fails, sometimes it like works. Like I feel like you guys keep trying to do those things, and you guys end up just winning.
Let's cause like how big was it for you guys to be able to pull out game one? Like I don't know if you were a believer in momentum, but how big did you feel like it was for either of you?
I think when you play a game like that, when you win, you just feel really confident, because we are on a bad spot and we still manage to win, so this gives a lot of confidence because you think, oh, we are behind and we still win. Imagine when we are ahead,
Yeah.
So at least for me, was really good for the team and the team mood too.
Question. Practice. Every time scrims come up, right? Feeling like scrims haven't been great or something, but at least from what we've heard from Revan, you guys scrimmed against Flyquest this week. I already see a grin from you. How was it?
We went 0-10 the past 2 days combined. We haven't won a game. But I mean, Flyquest is just a really, really good team. I think generally versus the top teams, we have like an even record. Usually we're like 50%. But the last like week or two, we've been kind of so-so. Like I think probably like either 1-4 days or 2-3 days. But yeah, we were 0-10 the last 2 days. But the games weren't like super hard stomps. Some of them were.
Yeah.
Probably like 4 out of 10 games were like pretty winnable. And we put ourselves in good spots. So it's not like we felt bad. We just reiterated that like Flyquest is just a really good team, guys. They're like the tempo machines. As long as we play our game, even versus like a team like 100 Thieves, we'll just smash them.
Usually if you go 0-10, that breaks mentals. I don't know if you've ever been a part of a team where you just like have that bad of a scrim week.
Oh yeah.
But
all the time.
How did you guys come out of that looking stronger? Feel like it contributed to the win?
I mean, our coaches just really reiterated that like they're just a really, really good team, Flyquest. And as long as we keep focusing on what we need to do, then we will beat any other team that's not Flyquest in this moment.
And Seos, I guess the question for me is kind of like, Fudge on stage talked about how you guys are trying to focus on closing. Obviously hard to close when you guys don't win a scrim, but like because that has been a problem you guys all split long. It's like good conditions, go lead, but then somehow can't finish the games. This is a completely different look from you guys. What did you guys work behind the scenes to get that done?
I think, for sure, in the start of the split, we kind of threw a lot of games, right? And even the starts, we are always trying to like fix this problem, because I feel like when we are ahead, if you just like play slow and play well on tempo, don't let like the enemy have windows to come back of the game, normally we will win the game.
Yeah.
But when we are ahead, we just try too much. I feel like in the past, we just try to push on a time we don't need, or like go to a fight that is not ideal for us, even if we are ahead. So of course, we still make mistakes, but our coaching staff is like doing a good job around scrims, even when like we are ahead, we still throw some games, but we still learn from them. So I feel like we learn how to play more slow when we are ahead and just keep the tempo and don't do like any risk things,
How do you make that change? Because at least from knowing you Contractz and even Palafox, like even from the NRG days, the CLG guys, you guys are fighters. You guys will, even if you guys are behind, you want to hunt for the fight.
Yeah.
How do you kind of make that tweak?
It's a good and a bad thing. It can work out sometimes and also do you really bad. It's hard. I mean, it's just about like really identifying your win condition once you put yourselves in a good spot, what you need to do to close out the game. I think we definitely do try to overreach and like dive turrets when we have Baron, or maybe we start Autocon or Baron without setup, stuff like that, It's just, even though we're in good spots, we still need to go through the basic steps and, set up vision, play for tempo, play off your waves, and, who's showing and who's not showing, play off numbers.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we put ourselves in good spots, say we're up 5,000 plus gold, we just get overzealous and like forget the small things, the small details, and that can punish you versus really good teams when you don't do the right steps. So
That makes sense. Who'd you vote for player of the series for this one?
Bvoy.
I did too. I think also the casters apparently had voted for Fudge. Who would you guys have voted for? You guys have obviously heard the comms in the games.
it's close.
I think.
Yeah, you could. Hey, egos are nice. If you want to say yourself, that's
Say yourself. I'll back you up. Your support.
I think everyone play well, but I would say, I think Bvoy. I think Fudge is good too because, especially, Fudge communication I feel like was really good this series. He was like keep everyone calm, and giving like a lot of good calls. Especially like I think on game 3 when he was playing Ornn, he was kind of coordinate really well when we will fight, when we will start objectives. So he do really well there. But I think Bvoy is probably the best candidate because I think game 1 was really hard and he kind of carried us. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say Bvoy as well. I feel like he was absolutely smurfy on the Lucian and the Senna. So I think just very consistent, stable.
Okay. Let's move on to technically now your opponents because Team Liquid just yesterday took down Dignitas. Did you guys end up watching that game or that series?
Here and there.
A little bit. We are screaming, so we couldn't like watch everything, but we see some parts.
How do you guys feel about Team Liquid? Do you guys think they're in playoff form? Where do you guys think would land them? Because they had a really weird split.
I think they're pretty solid. I feel like their bot lane generally plays really well, and I think Impact has been looking a lot more solid, especially on his tank picks recently. So I definitely think they're getting back into form, and they're getting more time with Yuji to mesh. So excited.
Yeah, I think they are a really consistent team. I feel like when we scrim against them, they don't do a lot of random things. I think they are really creative. I think RJD is really creative, like on the way he moves on the map. And I think they play the lane phase really well, him and Ion. So I don't think they are like on their peak yet, but I think they are playing pretty good.
What are your thoughts on them?
I mean, yeah, team like Team Liquid, they just have so much experience. Like, I think going into playoff, like, it will just benefit them a little more. I think they're not going to be like 100 Thieves where you lose game 1 that was not really losable and they're not going to like throw the game 2 and game 3.
Yeah.
I feel like they do have that ability to kind of still come back mentally strong and kind of play a steady game. So I do think Team Liquid is like more of way harder opponent compared to 100 Thieves, but I feel like you guys using this opportunity like as a learning like and taking a momentum, I feel like you guys can also definitely have a really good chance as long as the draft prep makes sense and all those. So I feel like it will be a really exciting match.
Also, like draft prep, that's a pretty relevant conversation because during that series, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like, I'm a little mad about you guys. We are not getting like game 4s. Yesterday was a game 4. All right, so yesterday we got to see a little bit more of Fearless, and there was a really interesting aspect of it where Dignitas just like banned all of Impact's picks. Like it was like Yorick, Poppy, Shen, Jax. Like this was in game 4, so literally every other top lane was banned to the point where he picked Silas versus Gnar. So like, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, first of all, yes, challenging Impact's pool, but second of all, just being in Fearless, going into 4-5, and then having like weird situations like that pop up.
I think it's interesting. They tried to do the Baus. Have you seen the Baus?
Yeah, actually.
Where they pick all of his champs in game 1 and then they ban them all in game 2.
They even went Rumble, like they went Rumble support in game 1, so that he couldn't pay Rumble either.
Oh, that's too funny. I mean, that's what people use solo queue for, right? Just to practice new champs. And I've seen Impact been spamming Silas recently, so it's definitely interesting. But I think of a player of Impact's caliber, it's gonna be hard to like fully like take him out like that. It's definitely a strategy. I mean, it failed for them.
Yeah, it did.
Do you think they should have done it to APA's champ pool instead, or?
Yeah, APA can only play Ziggs, Tristan,
Is that what you guys are gonna do?
Nico.
So you're gonna pick Nico so that he can play Nico.
Oh, I like this already.
Yeah.
You gotta hand this over to Revan. But what about you guys? Because like, if you were to go into a game 4, game 5 situation, do you guys feel like confident when it comes to that champion pool that it won't happen to you guys? Because I remember early on in the split, you guys had like a very interesting comp that you guys were pushing, the whole like Aurora and Neferi thing. Obviously, that's been a while now.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I don't think that strat is viable versus us at all. I feel like our champion pools are way too big to like ban someone out into like in that like regard. I think it's kind of impossible to do versus any pro player in the league, to be honest. Be interesting to see someone try to do it, but no, it doesn't really seem plausible.
Yeah, I think like we are screaming BO5 for kind of long time right now, so everyone is like game 4, game 5, everyone try like different picks and to see what works. So I feel like right now everyone already has like a bigger champion pool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm locking in Mundo game 3. if that's what I'm pulling on game 3. I'm going to pull out game 4 or 5.
I think they got your comms too. You're doing the Alois push stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that thing has been around for a while. I remember seeing it in TikTok like 2 years ago, the push thing, but he's definitely popularized it again.
Oh, true.
But I see his TikToks all the time. It's so funny. Just full cosplayed as Mundo with his briefcase and the car.
He went full blue. That's actually crazy. I need to watch that back. I actually need to watch it. And also, I guess my question to you guys is like, the other side of that is Dignitas. I'll start with you, Huhi. Because Dignitas ended up losing. I was surprised they went to playoffs in general. What do you feel like they need to work on in off-season to kind of come back stronger?
I mean, that's a really hard question because if I knew that, I would have made our team to go to the playoff. Right?
Fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I think lots of bottom teams, our issue is just like, we can get leads early game. Like early game, there's so many variants. Like you can be ahead, you can be like slightly behind, you can be even. I think in the end, in the competitive league, it does come down to a team fight sequence. And I feel like a lot of the bottom tier teams does not really know how to team fight when someone doesn't give you a clear like engage angles or like a flank angles. Yeah. And when it's like just 5v5 stare off and like we're kind of forcing enemy to make a mistake, like that's where we shamble. Like we just feel so much pressure. Someone just makes a dumb decision and completely give the game to the enemy. And I feel like the bottom tier teams just never really understood really well about like their win condition or like how to really team fight slowly. So I think that will be like pretty like big homework that we have to like go through.
That makes a lot of sense. Seos, what are your thoughts on the team overall?
On Dignitas?
Yeah.
I think they improve a lot. I feel like on the past 2 weeks they look like a solid team. But yeah, it makes sense what Huhi says. I feel like you really need to be, in my opinion, you really need to be patient. I think like on late games fights. Of course, if you find a really good angle, some flank champions, of course you can just go. But if you are playing against a really good team, they will probably not give you this angle, you know. So you really need to be patient and play and know your champion well. I think this is a big thing. I think when you play like against a top team, you can see that they know how to play a team fight. They know what their champions are good at. So I feel like it's not something you can learn fast as a team, you know. So I think they just need more time.
Actually, a question for you, because you've been like, I think 4-time CBLOL champion. You've been in those championship experiences, and I'm sure you've also been surrounded by like inexperienced players, because that was pretty much what we saw from Dignitas, like a lot of young rookies or younger players that haven't been in those situations before. How difficult is it to be in those situations and to be able to like learn? Because if you haven't been in those situations, you know.
Yeah, I think you kind of need like, for example, my experience when we have like rookies on the team, we really had like experienced players too. So you kind of need these experienced players to like take the lead, you know, and teach them how to play the game. Especially like I played with a rookie ADC and he was like really good at, you know, mechanics and lane phase and trades, but he didn't really know like how important it is to like recall at the right time, you know. So these kind of things you need to teach them, you know. So you need someone that already has good experience and can like guide the rookies to the right spot. Has
that been your experience, Huhi? Because you've had not just Scary Jerry, but you've had a lot of rookies that you've been playing with in the past.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I think what CEOs is what I went through as well. Like even especially with FBI, like we had a pretty unique relationship where I just switched to support and he just kind of came to a tier 1 scene. So I got to teach him kind of like the macro that I used to see, like the map movements, and he used to teach me about like the lane matchups. So I feel like definitely to rookie players, like raw mechanic is something that they already kind of have. So I think it's the knowledge of the game that we mainly teach them.
Contractz, I remember in your history, like you've been in the LCS highs of highs, and then when you went through like tier 2, I think the biggest thing you said you were learning and working on is like being a shot caller, like so being vocal and being like a leader on a team. It felt like, did you feel like you needed to do that because you were surrounded by like rookie players that didn't have the same knowledge that you did?
Yeah, I mean, when I got off C9 in 2017, I went to like a GGS with like 5 really young players with like no experience, I mean, not like no experience, but just not smart players. And I also wasn't a smart player at the time. So once you kind of are on bottom teams where you don't have like a big vocal leader or someone to push direction in the game, you kind of just made me have to like step into that role and like learn it. But honestly, I didn't really learn for quite a while. I think when I dropped into academy after the 2 years of bottom team LCS, when I was surrounded by the rookies and I had to be the voice to like push that forward, that's when I started picking up on it. But yeah, definitely being surrounded by rookies just makes it so you have to kind of evolve as a player to, you know, just get better and lead direction for sure.
Is that your note for Dignitas? Not to give them too much info.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like they lack a leader. I'm sure it's probably Isles from what I can see. But to be honest, for Dignitas, I feel like they just are not good enough in terms of like how they play the map to play standard.
Yeah.
So they just need to stick Shaden on all his carry champs and hope for the best. Because at least from my experience scrimming them this split, that's when they thrive. When they just full play for Shaden, he's playing his crazy picks.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Let's move on to the next topic, which is All Pro. That thing came out. We're seeing all the votes too. The first thing that came out to me was it was full Flyquest in first team. And we haven't seen that since Cloud9 took it in 2020 spring. Do you guys agree with that? Any points that you would have changed? Who voted on your guys' team?
It was
Fudge, I think, right?
Fudge and Revan.
Okay.
But we didn't talk to them at all, so I have no idea what they voted for.
Yeah, I don't know. Too. I think it's arguable. Like, for example, I think Thanatos played really well. If like he was the top laner on the first All Pro team, I think was fine, you know. But it's not like Bvoy didn't deserve to.
Yeah.
I think it's just like depends.
If I had to change anything, it'd probably be Loki for quad, and yeah, top is arguable as well, like Thanatos or Bvoy.
That's an interesting one. I remember last pros, Huhi, you can even pick up this one. I was like, Loki was somebody that like most of the mid laners thought was like third team All Pro. He's probably the most contentious. Actually, I'll ask you, why would you put Loki at first team? Because a lot of people, it's like night and day. A lot of
He's
people.
just super consistent, super solid player. I feel like he's a big driving force for C9 in terms of like how they like play around him. I mean, he does get a lot of resources in terms of like jungle support, but I feel like he's just always playing team fights well, always playing skirmishes well, lanes well, just really, really good player.
Yeah. Aligned with that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty aligned. I think like CEOs and Contractz both were touching base. Like top and mid can change, but like, it's not like neither of them like really not deserve it. Like Bvoy and Quad both deserves to be top 1 in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm also fine being Thanatos and Loki because that's who I have as second. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought they were all good. So
I think there's an only other one. Like anytime All Pro come out, people talk snubs. This series you guys just had was versus like it was River took third team All Pro, but there was a lot of votes for you, Contractz. So talk through like how did you feel like you should have gotten third team All Pro?
I think it's debatable, but I feel like I had too many bad games this split to like really solidify myself as a top 3 jungler. Like I think versus like Lion, I had some pretty bad games.
Yeah.
Versus Flyquest, I had so-so games. I think I just wasn't consistent enough this split.
Seb, you gotta gas him up. What are your thoughts?
No, he's number one for sure.
Number one? Hey, yo.
Number one.
Number one? That's support right there.
The best jungler. Okay, we're getting one person say a little doubting. One person has first. Huhi, you got to be the tiebreaker. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think especially a role such as like jungle is like such a team-based role as well. So like being like kind of a lower team and being even up there, I think does mean something. I think that's why like he does deserve to be on third team if like the vote panned out that way. But I think it's just really easy for people to see good side of River because they were winning more games in early splits.
Yeah.
So I think that's why like there was more votes going towards them. But for example, if we add this series as like, oh, can we also decide from this game, right, you know, I'm sure like the people will vote for Contractz way more.
Yeah,
so.
well, I probably would have changed my mind. We'll see. That probably would have happened. Kind of want to move on to something that we haven't had ever in North America, which is like a patch change during playoffs. How much did that impact you guys as a team?
No, it wasn't really a big patch, so I don't like remember any champions that we playing and we like stopped playing or.
Yeah, Lucian was like for the ball lane, I guess. His
Yeah.
E change was a big one, but you guys still played it and obviously proved everyone that was still a really good pick.
Yeah, I think like Lucian was kind of the big one, but didn't impact too much because it was kind of strong because you didn't need to max E, right? Because the CD was already low, but don't think change too much. And I think Silver is a strong pick that I think could show more. That got buff I think 2 times in a row or something like that. So
Yeah, it did.
maybe this will appear more in the playoffs.
Anything from your mind?
Yeah, honestly, they didn't do anything to my role. So they buffed Diana a bit. That's more so for solo queue. Her matchups are pretty bad in the jungle right now, unless it's like game 3 or 4, I feel.
Yeah, they buffed her clear speed. I always felt like her clear speed was already pretty fast, wasn't it? How do you feel about it?
They've nerfed it over the years. It used to
Okay.
be really oppressive, but yeah, give her some juice back. Not enough though
Yeah.
to make it like a top pick for game 1 or 2. But I could see it eventually maybe. The problem is that AD mids are also kind of low, so
Yeah.
or low in prio. So
Would it be a problem? Because, like, I guess this one was not an influential patch, but the fact that they did patch during playoffs, is that something? Because that was something that the teams voted in favor of, to do that, gets to align closer with MSI, which is coming up and everything. Is that something that you guys are cool with? Because the idea of going through the regular season, it being on the game day patch, everyone liked that, but now it's in playoff time. Any worries about that?
I'm sure if the patch was like a big one, it'd be a little bit challenging to navigate, but at the same time, it just makes you have to adapt faster, which is something that we've never really seen in LTA before in terms of like patch, because it's always locked. So I think it's interesting. It keeps teams having to like think and adapt. So
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Like adapting is a good indicative at a good team, in my opinion. So of course, if you don't change like too much, I don't think is a problem. I think it will be more fun to watch and more fun to play too.
Ooh, you're getting into that old stage, that unk stage. I mean, you've been around for a very long time. For it to finally happen, like, your thoughts on the idea of patch changes during playoffs?
I mean, I like it. I like it a lot because especially if you do go to the international tournament because you won the split, it just didn't really make sense like how much patch you're jumping into. And I think it's just our job to kind of keep being like in track of like what champions are strong, what champions are meta, and kind of learning those and like following those trends. So I think it just adds more of the good stuff instead of like the negative. So
Okay, kind of changing subjects a little bit. I'm looking at you, Sales, because we haven't really gotten a chance to have a conversation with you. How has it been in North America? I guess that's just the question.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. I'm feeling pretty happy. I think in the start was hard because everything was different from Brazil. And Brazil, I kind of know how is the routine. Like I'm living in my apartment, But when I came here, everything is different, and I'm playing with new teammates too. You need to adapt to that. So I feel like in the start I wasn't really able to improve myself individually because I was thinking a lot about how can I play better with my team, But right now I already feel like I was playing Brazil, I'm really comfortable with everything. I think Shopify structure is really good, and I really get along with everyone on the team, with the coaching staff. So I'm pretty happy right now. Yeah.
What are some of the biggest differences from coming from Brazil to the U.S.?
The start was, especially outside the game, the food was hard for me at the start, but I kind of got lucky because now I find a Brazilian cooker, so
nice.
Oh, nice.
eating what I normally eat in Brazil. But like on Brazil, I kind of know every player from every team. So let's say I play against this support, I know what he likes to play. I know the way he likes to play. I know what like enemy mid laner likes to play. And when I came here, everyone is different. I kind of don't know anything. I don't know what champions the enemy supports like to play. So inside the game, I think for me this was the big difference. I kind of need time to adapt and like play with Bvoy too. I never played with him before, so I kind of need to adapt on the champions he likes to play. So it was kind of a process, but I think right now I'm doing fine. Yeah.
How's it felt kind of still having that support from the Brazilian fans? Because like any content you're in or anytime you get that like ride or die fandom, is that something you like?
Brazilian fans are like the best. They are really passionate about the game, and they really want you to do well. They, like if you're a Brazilian, they will support you no matter what. They will like cheer for you and hope you win. So to be honest, it's really really cool to have this support. So far from my country. Yeah.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
There's also another thing that I want to talk to you two. Kind of just like reminiscing stories about the NRG days, because like Contractz you reunited with. Actually, I'll talk about you reuniting with Damonte. How has that been?
Damonte is the king.
Yeah.
He's the king of vibes. I mean, our team environment from Split 1, Winter Split, whatever it was called, it was so bad.
Yeah.
Like we were in the. So our scrim room is like. Some players on our team hate playing with glare, right? And we have these blackout curtains, and they just come down, and we're just in the dungeon. We're in the. It's like 1 p.m. Super nice day outside. We're in the dungeon. It doesn't matter. We're in the dungeon.
Yeah.
And then we're just losing every game. We're going like 0-6 in scrims every single day. Our vibe's really bad.
I'd be depressed.
Yeah, and we didn't really have the voice to pick ourselves up, or pick each other up. And the environment to do that. We were really struggling with like talking to each other and like building these relationships because we're all like, it's all fresh. We're still like learning about each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's to get Damonte, a familiar face, we have a good relationship with him, just kind of changed our whole team environment.
Yeah.
Like from like day one. Like it was crazy.
How does one man make that big of a change?
Yeah, and he's just really good for the vibes. I mean, he just lifts each other up. He's someone that like he walks in the room, he just lifts the whole mood.
Yeah.
Like he really engages conversation, gets you to talk, puts in good routine and structure. So it helped us a lot.
And this is coming from someone who knew him prior.
Yeah.
Seos, what about you? Because like this is your first introduction to him when he came in.
Yeah, I mean he's really. He's just a happy guy, and he's really positive. Like, for example, this week was really hard, but even though like we are losing almost every game, he still like talks with each other. He's like, he don't let like the mood go too low. He always says like kind of know what to say and don't let like everyone tilts about it. So I think he's a pretty good guy to have in a team environment, to be honest. Yeah.
Huhi, what was your experience with Damonte? Were you on the team when you were?
Yeah, on 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
He was my mid laner back in the days.
That's true. Wait, actually, that's true.
He was my mid laner.
I'm sure that was a little bit different.
It's quite different, But like jokes aside, I think I've always heard really good things about him. Like especially after he moved to coaching staff or the staff part of the team, and it's just a shame that when I joined the NRG, like we didn't have him. But like the stories that I was hearing was like pretty amazing, and just happy for like Shopify how it turned out to you guys, because I feel like it really sounds like those kind of people are really essential. Like it's like basically having a golden retriever, like always there, being happy and sharing that happy energy, and that just makes it the whole experience better. That just makes it so that even though you go through a hard loss, like you can always have something to take out. So, yeah, I mean, I hope that I can experience it once. So maybe you guys can rent us once, you know?
Wait a minute, don't you have 2 dogs at home?
Yeah, but like having a person that can, talk is also
fair.
a different mood. Because I do bring my dog sometimes to lift the mood up, but yeah, definitely having a person will be definitely good.
Okay, that makes sense. Honestly, we're talking about lifting moods. Let's just talk about next week. Let's talk about the opponents now. We'll start with Flyquest versus C9, just because that's going to be happening in the upper bracket. Last time we saw them, it was a catastrophe for C9. What are your guys' thoughts? I'll start with you, Seos, for that matchup and for C9 to be able to at least, to make that competitive.
Yeah, I think for sure C9 didn't play their best on the last series against Fly. I still think Fly is a better team than C9, but I think C9 just didn't show up that day. So that's why it was like kind of one-sided series, right? So I think Flyquest will probably win, but I expect like kind of close games, maybe 3-1 or 3-2.
Yeah, I think Flyquest is definitely the better team for sure. I think the way they play the map and how they use tempo is just by and far the best in the West, to be honest. So I think it'll probably be 3-1 Flyquest. I wouldn't be surprised if the games were a little bit close, but I feel like if Flyquest shows up on the day, then it'll kind of honestly almost be a sweep.
Almost be a sweep?
Yeah.
What does C9 need to do?
What does C9 needs to do? I think they somehow have to get Vulcan and Blabber moving around together. I feel like they always have a lot of success when Vulcan is out of the lane and they somehow impact mid and top heavily. Yeah. So yeah, I think somehow if Vulcan and Blabber walk up at the right side of the bed, maybe they can carry.
What has been C9's problems? It's hard to talk about that because they're the second best team, it feels like. So what's something that you've noticed from C9 that they need to do better?
I feel like they're not too oppressive in laning phase anymore, besides maybe top. I feel like mid is stable and consistent, but I feel like they don't generate too much pressure from bot, from the way I see it. And they play mostly through jungle top. So I think they just need to get Blabber in a good position, a good matchup, and just play through him.
So your thoughts, just because, especially if you can talk about Sven and Vulcan a little bit.
Yeah, I think they are solid players, I think it's hard to put them behind, but they are not like a bot lane that really likes to oppress you, play really aggressive, try to deny every CS. I think they are just smart players, and it's not like they are bad. I think they are good, but they just play more for the team, instead of maybe having a good trade, they like to just push, get tempo, so Vulcan can move around. I think he do that really well. So I think it's just a style they choose to play. Yeah. And I think C9 I think they depends a lot of Blabber. I think Blabber need to be on a really comfortable matchup and comfortable spot on the game. Yeah.
Let's go through predictions before we move on to the next series. You said 3-1?
Yeah, I think 3-1 Flyquest.
Yeah, I think 3-1 too.
Oh, well, I was going to say 3-1, but now I'll say 3-0.
You changed it to make it worse?
Yeah.
What the hell? I will hold my prediction since I'm going to be on that show. I need to think about this. It's probably going to be the same, not going to lie. Let's talk about the one versus Team Liquid, because now after you guys' win, you lock in that series. I'll start with you, Seos, because people talk up that bottom lane so much. What are your thoughts now going into that matchup?
Yeah, I'm really excited to play against them because I feel like our last series was really bad for us, and I think we of course they prepare really well and they play better than us, but I didn't feel like we are the, how can I say, we are on our best on that day. I feel like we just first game was kind of disaster since level 1.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Why'd you have to bring it up again?
No, I didn't think about it.
My bad.
You guys made a really cool sequence, though. It was like a horror film kind of. That was a good watch.
Poppy's back.
Poppy walking through my jungle.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, please tell me about this, because we haven't heard it from you at least, because that had to be the most tilting experience you've had.
But
you were common.
Yeah, it wasn't too tilting. I feel like I don't really get tilted on game day.
Yeah.
Just gotta handle it calmly and do my best,
Yeah.
That's all you can do really in those situations because we didn't prep for it well.
Yeah.
What do you do in between? What do you do in between that series when something like that happens? Because like
You
going into
forget
the
about it
next
and you go next.
game. Okay, that's it.
You try not to think about it. You're like, well, didn't plan level 1 well enough, and got punished for it. So all you can do is move on.
An NPA also warning you beforehand.
Yeah. He said, or no, I joked with him. I said, you better ward all your entrances to the jungle because I'm invading this guy. And then they said they happened to they reversed it.
Maybe not reverse card.
I didn't prep well enough.
Yeah.
I thought they would just full clear.
Oh my God. They played UG all of last series too. So what are your thoughts kind of going into that one? Because that has to be unpredictable, whether they're going to use UG or bring in
They're probably just going to use UG.
Yeah.
I feel. No, I think he's solid. I think he just plays really well for his own win condition, his team's win condition. I don't think he does anything too crazy. But he has good mechanics. He plays skirmishers well. He has some little oopsies here and there from like getting caught. I remember the last Dig series, like him piloting the Pantheon. But
Yeah.
from our scrims, I think he's a pretty solid player.
I know you guys are going to be a part of that series, but I got to do predictions.
3-0 Shopify.
3-0 Shopify, for sure.
All right, now the unbiased opinion.
Well, even before this talk, I did say 3-2 to Shopify.
He did say that.
Yeah,
He's
I
actually
did say
believing
that.
in the hype.
Let's go.
It's actually happening. I will not reveal mine. I have no idea. I'm not going to lie.
What? You gotta
I
say
got to
yours
wait a
too.
day to get the high out.
I don't think so.
Okay, you know what? Shopify 3-2. All right.
3-2. All right.
But if I might be a snake and change it on. I might be a snake.
Can't be doing that, man.
We'll see about that. It might happen. Hold me to it. But yeah, that's it for us. Appreciate you guys coming on the show. Appreciate you, Huhi, for being on the entire day.
Thank you.
Thanks for you guys who've been able to watch. If you're watching on YouTube, thumbs up, but also listening on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. See you next week for the LTA North playoffs.
Thank you.